event. My business is called The Pink Coach. I run a business and career coaching business in Toronto. I come from a corporate background. Boo, I'm just kidding. I always say that it was my university education and it got me where I am today, so I'm very honored and very blessed. We have for a whole hour the Big Bang. Anybody know about that? So the Big Bang, I know we have some very important judges in the room. They're all over the place. I feel very humbled by their presence, I have to say. So the Big Bang, we're going to be using social media to vote and choose a winner from some of these fabulous entrepreneurs here that are here to do their little Dragon's Den Big Bang pitch. So round of applause for them that are here this evening. Thank you.
Instead of starting a record label, I want to do a restoration center. People would actually call it a rehabilitation center, but I want to use the word restoration because of all the stigma around the word rehabilitation. It would be called Catherine's Lighthouse. And this restoration center would be for people who are broken, people who are in darkness, people who are depressed, people who are struggling with mental illnesses, things like suicidal ideations. And this process would be worked out through something that I would like to call the Illuminate process. Basically, when they come in, we take them in, right, and they stay with us. And the process is that we go to the places that these people are not comfortable going to. And we start with the darkness aspect, because one thing I've learned is that a lot of people are rather struggling with a lot of their darkness because they don't address it. For example, a prostitute, if you go deep within her psyche and her situation, you'll think she's just some sort of girl, but when you look deep inside, you'll see it's an unresolved daddy issue. So we want to go to the core, and to get there, to illuminate, you have to start with the darkness. I don't want to just do this for the sake of doing it, but because it's something very dear to me. I've been through a lot of things. In 2011, 2012, 1 year, I lost my biological mom and my dad. Also within 2011, 2013, I was admitted to a mental hospital twice. And I was on a lockdown unit. They diagnosed me with different things, and I had to take medication. I've almost lost my life on many occasions. I struggled with addictions, suicidal ideations, depression. I'm now 26 years old, but I've been through a lot, but it rather made me stronger. But I see people that are rather beaten by this situation. So how I'll go about doing that is it will be in 2 phases. And phase 1 will be setting the precedents or the structure in which the center will be following, and it will be based on myself. I want to use myself as that precedent so that when the center starts, my experience will kind of like place forth that structure. So phase 1 will consist of 3 things, which will be me putting out an album, me putting out a documentary, and me putting out a book. And that will be visual, audio, and written. All those things will generate income, and they'll be part of the revenue model for phase 2, which is launching the actual center. So I'm confident that, you know, this will work because of the fact that we're able to do fundraising. So I know that's a strength of mine, right? So I'm already in the music phase. So after that, we'll launch into the documentary and then the book. So I want to just put it forward that the center, which is the long-term goal, is not going to be started right away. It's going to be launched within 1 to 4 years, but phase 1 will be setting it up, because I recognize, I'm going to be honest, that this is a huge undertaking. And I don't think that I can launch into it right away, but I believe that the money that I want to get from here and the advice will set me up for success. Because my goal is to start here and then eventually advance globally. And now this is how the Illuminate process, introduced in phase 1, works in phase 2. When we begin to introduce the center and we have trained psychologists and social workers, then I want to start, when we admit people, we will start with recording them, most likely a video with where they were, and then this is what makes us different from other places. Then along the way, we will log their journey, and at the very end, we will pretty much show them where they got after everything. So that's the illumination, that's the light. So now they will choose one of those things that I set forth, whether it be audio, visual, written. They will tap into their creativity and now tell their story. That's the differences from other rehabilitation centers. Now they will be able to share their story, whether it be podcasts, whether it be books, etc., and that will generate income as well. And they can also be trained to start other branches. So that's just a bit of a breakdown. I'm also confident that this will work because people have done this before me. If you look at my album, it's called Illuminate, and it talks about the process. I talk about different things, my addiction, my suicide. I talk about all of it. And then when I sat back, I said, this is very deep. And then when I began to study other psychologists like Carl Jung, who's one of the godfathers of in psychology, I realized that he had a term that he coined, the wounded healer. And everything that the wounded healer talked about was kind of basically what I touched on in Illuminate, and I didn't research that prior. So I said, this is something that's innate in me. So if these guys have built this, I will take what they have presented and rather even take it to greater heights. So I'm confident it will work. And then my mentor, Dr. Helen No, if you could go to the next tab, she is a professor at my school who is a pastor and also a professor of psychology, and she mentors me. How long? I'm done? Okay, I'm done. All right. Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
You intend to maintain the sustainability of the center from a long-term perspective. That is something that you really should consider, whether you're going to look at private funding or whether you're going to go to the government. And then the list of individuals that was there, I'm guessing those are all private investors? There was names that you had during your presentation that said 50,000, 25,000. Are those just from private investors?
that was from my Kickstarter project that
Okay.
I did towards the music phase that I personally raised funds, so people invested in me personally.
My question is how are you going to finance the first part of the project? I know you raised funds already, but coming up with an album and documentary and a book it requires capital. And how do you plan to finance the first part of it before you move to the second part?
So basically in each of these things that I do, I'm going to continue to find other ways to raise funds like I did, different types of fundraisings, such as the Kickstarter. I might go through that avenue again. I might continue with grants. I might continue to just through my work ethic with different kinds of things. And then from each thing that I do, for example, the revenue I make from the music, I could put it towards the documentary. Also from the documentary, it go towards the book. And also through this, what I even get from this was part of the plan to also put it towards that and also the consultation and other things that I will get from that.
Joshua, that was a very interesting presentation. I can tell you're very confident and very passionate about what you want to do.
Thank you.
So good for that.
Thank you very much.
I think you missed a huge opportunity here. I would really have loved to have heard about the first part of this project because I think that's where you are at and that's where you need help with respect to funding, ideas, feedback.
Yeah.
And then once that's successful, you can take that and incorporate that into your second phase of the project.
Right.
So I'm not going to ask the questions that they've already asked. I just think that really, again, focus on your first phase.
Right.
Get the organization, get the details. Some of the questions that they've asked, that the previous judges have asked, are very poignant. Focus on those, focus on how you can get the help to answer those questions so that it can help you with your first part of the project, and then you can launch into your second part. So,
Thank you
good
very
job.
much. Cheers.
And travel the world. So I went to 21 countries, every continent except Europe. So what I've seen and through my travels, I kind of want to share through film and social awareness. I saw a lot of things in life that, I wanted to be that force of change. I wanted to be a voice of change. I wanted to see something of balance, right? What I want to do is to document film and create social awareness and then create a platform where people can fundraise, people can donate. So, I want to help this person out. Some of the things that people try to break out of poverty is through sports. And one of the things is there's people that I've seen that have given up their whole life, given up their pension, and they go out and what they do is they travel to the world and they say, I'm going to start a school. And they fund their pension from the first world. But there's another thing. How many people know today that 13 countries in Africa still pay French colonial tax? One person. Well, what I want to do is I want to bring you the heartfelt stories, right? That the media doesn't cover like this. I mean, how many people have seen films that had some similar impacts and then they just went home and sat on the couch and didn't do anything? So in that 30 seconds of the audience when they finish a film, we want them to get involved, sign a petition, donate. So there'll be tables there after the film, there'll be resources and media to tell people, hey, you know what, you guys gotta get involved, you're the audience. Basically, our target market is socially conscious people. We're gonna team up with websites, Oliwaz, Change.org, and kind of ask them, can we put an ad on display on your website? And this is what we wanna do. And we think they're gonna be receptive to our program, because eventually in the future, we're going to be filming some of their causes that they help out. It'll help us with our causes too. There are some things that we want to do is enter into film festivals to gain some exposure for the awareness and different things. One of the things we found is a company called FundScript. What they do is they sell gift cards. So with the gift cards that you sell, they deal with 180 companies, including gas and groceries, things you buy every day. So what we're going to ask people is to say, hey, don't change your spending habits. 1 minute? Okay. So basically what we're asking people to do is change the way they spend. Buy things with gift cards instead of buying things with cash. So they pay an average of 3% per gift card. So what it is we plan to raise about $36,000 that way for the film. And then we took a case study by a company called Sriracha. Okay? With Sriracha, they did an indie film. And we took their viewing, which was, you can go to revenue. We took their viewing and what it cost them to actually make the film, what it cost them to actually revenue drive. And so we took that model and we figured we can use it the same. And hopefully we'll maybe be able to sell it to a network like Planet Africa, or CBC or Passionate Eye, or different networks. So we feel like in the worst case scenario, we'll come out with a little bit of profit, but we'll create a lot of awareness. And if ideal scenario, we'll come out with a little bit more profit. Finished? Okay, sorry.
They say you just want to make a film and then sell it to CBC to create awareness.
Well, it's about creating social awareness. If you lose money on something, then you can't keep the awareness going, right? So one of the things we want to do is create awareness to social things that are going on in the world. And then through film, we're able to impact a larger audience. Like Hulu reaches everyone around the world. Vimeo reaches everyone, YouTube reaches everyone in the world. And they pay you a little bit of money for that. But that's a scenario, or if a network is willing to say, you know what, I'll give you money for that. We'll put it there. But instead of having a film that people walk away from and say, you know what, I'm just going to go home, sit on my couch, and not do anything about it. Well, then you have that, that little impact of time where you're saying, you know what, their emotions are there. Boom. Let's ask them, say, hey, you know what, let's donate some money. Or, hey, sign a petition. This is what's going on in the world. These are different things. So we want people to stand up for social change.
I really liked your presentation.
Thank you.
I think it's great that your business model or what you want to do is tied into social change. I think there's a really big need for that. Working for a corporation, I would say there's a missed opportunity there in terms of you not really, I guess maybe working with an NGO or even working with a corporation. What I'm getting at is how do you get your consumers to really care? So if I'm a consumer, what is it going to be that's really going to reel me in to say, okay, I want to make, give money towards environmental change or, animal cruelty and that sort of thing. And working for TD, what I can tell you as an employee of the bank, one of the biggest things that's really close to TD is the environmental piece.
Okay.
And the corporation actually has a certain amount of money that's allocated on an annual basis where they're looking for certain companies to partner with and say, hey, what is it? What are you passionate about? And more importantly, what kind of funding do you need and how can we kind of align with your kind of, what you want to make a change with? So I think what you're doing in terms of your business model is good, but I also think you need to consider possibly going to a corporation that is really big on corporate social responsibility and trying to work with them, because that will give you credibility, and that will also, I guess, cause people to really care.
Excellent.
Thank you for the presentation. And yeah, just piggybacking on that, I think, people are so inundated with messages and stuff now that getting people to actually care, even when they do care, is very difficult.
It is.
And that getting people to actively, take that step to actually do something, even if it's to go and watch the movie or whatever the case may be. So I think, that might be a bit of a struggle now. So is this the numbers and stuff that was up there to create one film, or is this,
Just one.
okay. So if you got all the money that you needed, what is the film that would be created?
We're going to work on something locally. We haven't decided a storyline yet. Something locally, and then 2 to 3 years we probably want to do something internationally.
So what is the issue that would be in that film?
Basically, struggle breaking out of poverty, what people go through. Maybe it's a child that's got all the talent, got the education, doesn't have the funds to go to school. That would be probably a popular issue in the GTA. Eventually, we want to do more of a global thing, help NGOs out that try to raise money for different causes. One of the things is one of the things is I see that there's people in the world that don't have the resources to start a business. They have a company, and they take people out on safaris, they take people on tours. So I want to create awareness for those type of people too, to say, hey, you can use this guy, and this person's doing this. And then the other people that are out there saying, you know what, they've got a school, they're struggling for the day-to-day operations, they're funding it with their pensions. I want to create awareness for them and help the little guy kind of go up as well. And to start up big. I took a lot of time researching the numbers, researching different funding techniques. One of the ways I like the gift card is because they give you 3% of your funding. So you're not asking people for big cash donations. You're saying, you know what, all we're asking you is to change your habits of buying, and you'll make the change, right? So we figure we can pull off that, quite a bit of revenue that way. Hopefully if we get some grants, and of course crowdfunding is big as well. Digital downloads for the future.
We're going to move into the winner of our Big Bang segment. So I'd like to invite our judges up, please, to the front so that we can make the presentation.
When I won I was surprised and kind of overwhelmed, and I didn't know what to say. So, but the positive feedback I got after I won, and a lot of people willing to help, that is really amazing, and a lot of people willing to participate. So, it's incredible.
I was here to be a judge as part of the Big Bang, and to just really see what some young entrepreneurs are looking to get going with their lives. I think it's really hard to pick one thing that was my favorite aspect, because I think everything kind of built on everything else. So everything kind of complemented, thing, and everything kind of flowed seamlessly into each thing.
The biggest takeaways too, along the lines of the potential, is not every business owner really necessarily cares about revenue. They really do care about making a difference in society. And I think that's also really important too, as a banker, when I have someone coming to me to say, I really want to make a difference within my community, that is something that is also really important about the bank as well too. So it's not just about the dollars and cents, it's really about how are you going to impact the community, because we operate within the community as well.
The major pitch was, what I wanted to do. I wanted to bring social change, and I wanted to express it through film. And but I don't want people to walk away from a film and not take action. I want the audience to be engaged and interactive. Interactive with the film and interactive with a cause. Big Bang winner.